What is going on, guys? Heart Pirates TCG here with my good pal and buddy David. Say hello, my friend.
Hi, my friend.
All right. So what we have is, in response to my last video, David, along with some friends of his, created. Basically, they updated and made every leader more viable and fair. So we're gonna title this video something like "We eroded every leader in the game" to make things more fair. So we're gonna go through these leaders, and I'll try to get them timestamped so you guys just don't, not watching like a super long video. You can kind of skip around if you want to, but I'll kind of go in order with what David wanted to do. So David, you want to say anything before we start the video?
Not really. Hello, guys. Welcome to Heart Pirates TCG. You're awesome, dude, and let's get this going.
Awesome. Also, guys, right, real quick before we start the video, we are hosting a tournament on December 23rd. It's going to be a webcam tournament with thousands of dollars in prize support, even more depending on how many people sign up. So link to that is going to be through my Discord, which is going to be below. Go to the tournament events tab. So, okay, number one we'll start out with is ST Uta. And then I'll let David kind of steer the conversation with this one.
So I put the OP6 and the busted leaders first. And the reason for this is what the game is becoming. These are the gold standard now. And Starter Uta is the perfect, what power game has become. For one Dawn, she just draws a card. She literally has 4 different events that only work for her, one of which is a searcher that replaces itself and doesn't cost a Dawn. The problem is that this is what leaders need to be competitive.
Absolutely. And this is one of the first starter deck leaders that we have, other than, like, I would say, I mean, think of all the starter deck leaders. I think there's only 3 that are somewhat viable in going into the future, right? It's starter deck Luffy, starter deck Law, and then this Uta right here. I don't think Sanji and Zoro is going to be competitive at all. And you're right, she has to be like this, because she's obviously built for film, which is fine to have like a designated deck for film, but how ridiculous it is that she just has one, like, for one Dawn she basically just draws a card for free. Like that's absolutely insane.
Absolutely nuts. And it is now the gold standard of all cards because she's a thing.
Yeah, so like Sakazuki is draw one, discard one, draw one. This is literally just draw 2 cards per turn. It's just insane. It's just crazy. So are we changing anything with any of these leaders coming up with
No,
set 6?
The overpowered ones are perfectly fine where they are. But the reason I put them first is because they have very specific things. All the other leaders have to change.
Okay, so
I'll explain sort of more as we move through those leaders.
Okay, so I guess we'll go to Yamato then.
So number 2 is Yamato, and I honestly, this card is absolutely bug nuts. I should never have to describe why double attack should not be on a leader, especially in a set where they release banish for leaders.
Yeah, not only does she have, I was going to say that not only does she have double attack, but Onami is a 4-of in the deck because she's literally Thunderbolt except for better, and Onami can make it
with counter.
Yeah, with a 1K counter, which is crazy. But not only can Yamato be a double attack, but she could be a double attack banish, which, in set 1 we had to pay 5 Dawn for that, and we had to hope it didn't die or get blocked. Like, this is, it's just too good.
Yeah. So the other big thing is with the OP5 or OP6 leaders, we'll get to Perona and she'll sort of explain this. Having 2 abilities on a leader means all the other leaders need 2 abilities to be able to be the same.
And not only that, but she has
OP5
she has a super Luffy effect where if you have if your opponent has 3 or less life, attach 2 rested Dawn to one of your characters. Now you can't do it to a leader, but 2
literally
rested Dawn.
Better version of starter Luffy. That card is inconsequential now.
Just, oh my god. So one attack, and she has a leader effect for the rest of the game. She connects. Yep. Not only does she punish you by connecting, but as soon as she connects with one of those hits, you're like, her second leader effect, which is just as good, just turns on. It's crazy. Let's move to Perona.
All right, so Perona is the
better Isha,
what
right?
Every green and what every black leader should have been.
Yep.
So she has built in her to her kit the same effect as Sakazuki, activate -1 cost, and a almost better version of Kuro's ability because it doesn't cost Dawn.
Yeah, it's just like if we were not sure that Law was dead next set, Perona made sure it was
Oh,
dead.
he is
Just
long
once
gone.
per turn, I will activate main Punk Gibson. Like,
Yep,
like
for nothing.
how
For
good is that,
literally
dude?
nothing.
Yeah. So, anything we're fixing with this one?
No, but the big thing about this character is this is the first one of the first leaders besides Sakazuki that you literally get two abilities, not one, and neither one of them costs anything, which brings up a very interesting point. Anything that costs something now is effectively useless.
True. Right? Like even like the Dawn X1 cards, unless they're over the top really good, this is where we're go. Like it's just better to have leader effects that cost nothing. So and then the characters are going to be looks like the main thing going forward, and then you base the characters around the leaders, which is what should have been to begin with. And maybe OP06 leaders are just showing that. Is that the direction that they're going to? But then if that's the direction they're going to, then pretty much every single leader aside from the OP05 and belows are pretty much going to be useless unless we fix something. So, I like you said, we're going to talk about the other couple OP06 leaders, and then we'll talk about what needs to be changed. So, Reiju, whatever you call her, what's up with her?
So Reiju is the best designed character in OP6, and I think she actually might be one of the best designed flavor and balanced characters in the game. Her effect is very starch normal specific. You can use it in any purple deck, but it rewards you for also taking her cards while only slightly punishing you for taking cards that are not really her type or that you shouldn't fit in the deck.
She's what Blurple Croc should have been. I love the way she's
No
designed.
joke.
I think she is an awesome leader. I think not only is she fair, like her effect isn't too broken, but it just like it's like it embodies what blue and purple should have been, right? It's Dawn minus and drawing, which is great. And then the engine that you can play with her is like it's just very cool, I think.
Gonna be my deck in OP06.
It's
Now
all
everyone
yeah.
knows.
It's also gonna like this and Gecko are gonna be my decks for sure. All right, and then Gecko. We'll talk about Gecko Maria right here.
All right, so Gecko Moria, I actually really like. I think he's designed very well. The problem is he invalidates every Navy card in the game. Well, most of them.
Why do you
This
say
is a
that?
better because his effect is number one, a better version of Dofi, a better version of Arlong, because he just plays them out of the trash and they're not rested. But the other big thing is his graveyard recursion doesn't cost cards, whereas the Navy effects the old discard to do something, it's just it's
It's
not
too
worth it
expensive.
anymore.
Yeah, it's too
Way too
expensive.
expensive.
And that's what James and I VV Theory talked about the other day was like everything black related is just like outdated and too expensive for what it does. Like you can pull off combos, but it's going to
I
cost you
also
multiple
think
cards in
their
hand.
boss monsters are the worst in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Playing Kazan will often get you killed.
Black has no boss monsters except for I guess the Gecko Maria, which is like not
That is
really
way better of a boss monster than Kazan or Isho.
Yeah, and it's still not as impactful as like other cards like 10 cost Big
Oh
Mom.
no, it's horrible.
Which is it's just crazy, right? All right, and then our last leader of set 6 is Uta.
This is the proof that they can't hit the ball with all the leaders. This leader should not have been printed. Like, this card, quite literally, when attacking, you have to trash a film card for a horrid effect.
Yeah. It also doesn't have the identity of like if this was black I would understand, but like purple and red, like what does trashing have to do with anything?
Nothing.
You're right. This is just like for some reason they keep trying to print these leaders when they like are just doing nothing basically. They just have no like who's going to play this character or this leader?
If this worked on your leader, I would 100% trash a card for it. It would be almost like the Bello Betty effect.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. So it's just terrible.
Yeah, it's bad. All right, let's move on to ST Luffy now. So this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of the video.
So this is all about fixing these leaders. And interestingly enough, I honestly think Starter Luffy is one of the easiest leaders to fix in the game. The problem is that, and this problem really began when Grape Dofi came out. If your effect doesn't generate 2 Dawn, it's not a good effect.
Pretty
Um,
much.
Luffy should get his ability at least twice, in a perfect world 3 times. And it should be based on the amount of Dawn on his field.
So OP01's or okay. So explain that. If you,
He should get 1 rested Dawn from 1 to 5. At 6 Dawn, he should get 2 that he can spend after they're rested. And at 10 Dawn, he should get 3.
okay, that makes sense. Okay. And this is just to avoid power creep, so you have a reason to play these leaders in set 7, 8, 9, 10. All right.
Yeah.
And he's right on this, guys. So when you think about it, the reason that Law has been so good for so long is not only the color, like the synergy with his effect is just fantastic, but if you break it down even further, like
He plays
OP01
8
Law,
Dawn for 2.
yeah, he plays 8 Dawn worth of stuff for 2 Dawn. So he generates 6 extra Dawn per turn. So instead of playing with 10 Dawn, he's playing with 16 Dawn, which is just absolutely unreal, especially if you take into effect that he plays like starter deck 2K counter Brook and like other cards like that either like Otama or Makino that boost power or minus power. Like it's just so much value in terms of like Dawn and like manipulation that like that's why he's been good for so long. And if every leader had similar amounts of Dawn manipulation or Dawn like generation, then it would make them more fair overall. So I can definitely see this with Luffy, and it would make it so like Dawn times 1 characters or Dawn times 2 characters are better into this deck, and there's a reason to play him over Zoro.
Absolutely. And plus, if you did it at 6 and 10 for Luffy, it ends up being like a perfect curve to play Luffy.
That actually would be pretty cool. Okay,
Um,
you want to go on to Kid?
yeah.
Cool.
Kid is one of the few balanced and good leaders. He's the only discard effect in the game that makes sense. The problem is his card color is horrible. Green is the worst card color in the game right now because the only thing that matters are film cards. Every other effect is just so inconsequential that the color identity of green it doesn't exist. There isn't one.
I would say so. In standard mono green, I think that's true. I think the only engine that's actually really good is the film. Of course, you have the Supernova engine, which has been hit or miss, but in other color pools, like you just take the best of like whatever the color is, like for example film or the Supernovas, and like splash it in like we saw in Law. But like in mono green, there really isn't a whole lot. It's just like a mid-range like aggro deck, and the best way to take advantage of that is the film engine. So I agree with this. I think a 12-12 is always going to be relevant, and if you're playing a very like heavy aggro deck, this leader can like always just end the game. And then on top of whatever, like obviously the 10 cost Doflamingo was a nice addition to that. And of course we're gonna get green colors later on, but yeah, I think Kid is pretty fair. I think he's just an aggro mid-range deck, which is, and his leader effect kind of like does that for him. So yeah. All right, cool.
So Starter Croc. I know you love Starter Croc, and a lot of people love him.
I love him because he was not meta.
Hates Crocodile.
No, I think his leader effect doesn't make any sense. He's a blue Dawn minus
whatsoever. Yeah. This should be on Blurple 100%.
Yeah. Why is this not on Blurple? I would love Blurple if this was his effect.
This, if you actually switch this one in Blurple, they become much more fair. It's really weird.
Yeah, isn't that so crazy? So like for Blurple Croc, imagine if you can go Mihawk into 10 cost or into 9 cost Kaido, and then go down to 1 Dawn because you -5 with Kaido and then -4 with Crocodile, but you pop a 6, play a 10k rush, and then bounce a 5. How is that not better?
That is
in a purple blue deck.
That is what the purple blue Croc should do.
Yeah. So literally just swap the leaders.
Yeah.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, when we were testing these, we kept like trying to edit their effects, and what ended up happening was the closest we could get them to like 50-50 with meta decks were just literally swapping the leader text.
So I do think that instead for Monocroc to make him a little better, I think it might be better just to like Honestly, like make him draw 2. If we're talking about like generation of card pool.
Interesting. It's not the 2 draw he needs. It needs to be it needs to work at 5 or less, not 4 or less.
That's fair too. I can see that. I still think if Blue Crocodile was, or if I'm sorry, if we switch the effects and it was still just Dawn 1, draw a card if you have 5 or less, I think it might be still underwhelming. But there is
The reason for that is he can actually then play Sanji's peel off and get 4 cards out of it.
Oh, you're right.
That is the
Okay,
reason for that.
cool.
Is you can literally play a 7-drop and then Sanji's peel off and have a perfectly pretty hand.
Okay, all right. I'll take it. I'll take it. And then go down to Kaido.
Kaido is very odd because he's almost there. His ability needs to cost 5 Dawn, not 7.
I completely agree.
The reason for this is Katakuri and Big Mom do the same thing for exactly 5 Dawn. For 7 Dawn, they do the same thing and get an 8k body, and for 10 Dawn, they get a 12k body and do it twice.
Pretty much. Yeah. So this, if this costs 5, I do think it gets a lot better, because then what you could do is you could play, and theoretically you could play Rush Kaido and activate Kaido's effect on the same turn.
Exactly. Like, you make Rush Kaido a real boss monster.
Yeah, Rush Kaido is like, dude, if he has Rush Kaido, I lose, right? And that is actually so cool. I like that a lot. And
the other big thing is it gives Kaido a better endgame.
Yeah.
One of the biggest,
because the endgame right now sucks.
Especially with the 10-drop purple Kaido, which I honestly think is the second worst 10 cost in the game.
Yeah.
Losing the Dawn is effectively killing yourself.
Yeah, especially if you don't have Oni, you just literally you lose, right? Yeah,
and
you die.
It's a dead card in hand, which makes it feels bad.
Okay, we'll go down to Shanks.
So Shanks' ability should work on himself, and it should work till the start of next turn, like the 8-drop Uda does.
I think that would be so busted, though. I think this would be the most.
If
they release film support, if they release film support, I think this would just be absolutely insane.
The problem is that that's with the film support that exists now.
Okay, that makes sense.
If there was more film support,
he would be busted.
In purple, he would be busted.
Okay, all right. I guess that's fine, because I mean, we haven't gotten purple film support in forever. So all right, I'll take it.
Starter Sakazuki.
I'm sorry, real quick. And guys, this is all because there has to be some type of reason to play these leaders, right? Because as they are right now, and even if they get a slight change to their ability, as in errata, it still will not be, if it's a slight change, it still will not be anything even close to what needs to be done for them to be even remotely playable in the future. So it might seem like we're kind of over-tuning the cards, but because every card in the future is going to be over-tuned as well, on top of OP05 and OP06 being kind of over-tuned, it's like these cards will fit right into the meta, like right in. Now not all of them will be good, but you know, they could be like relevant. Like who wouldn't love for Film Shanks to be a tier 1 deck in the future, right? Who wouldn't love Black Luffy to be a tier 1 deck in the future, right? Like that could happen with these changes. So all right, let's talk about Sakazuki.
All right, so Sakazuki, once again, trashing cards is a long dead, useless effect.
Yep.
Black doesn't generate enough cards. I generate way more cards in every other color pool than Black does, and Black's the one that needs to discard them.
Yep.
This character really blew my mind when I first read him, because I actually read his card after reading Zephyr. And I was like, this is just Zephyr, but bad.
Yeah. It's horrible. This might be the worst leader in the game. Like no joke.
The funny thing is, the actual worst leader, if you go by the number of people playing him, is Red Green Luffy. This is worse.
I think Red Green Luffy at least has a route to victory. Yes. I legit cannot see Sakazuki beating any single deck ever. So how do we fix this? Let me read what you said, Sai. This should cost no Dawn if you trash a card. Okay.
It should cost no Dawn if you trash a card, and it should hit 1 costs.
Okay. Or you should pay 3 cards and you pay 3, but you do not trash a card. Okay, so you have the option. Yeah. Okay.
You basically should get the option of either. We actually found out that works way better, especially with the recursion, the negative value recursion in OP06. the like Hina to trash, Gecko Moria, pull it back for -3. Then you can discard a card.
Okay, so he would work really good with the Celestial Dragons then, like the Celestial
Yes.
Dragon engine. Okay.
He would actually be the perfect Celestial Dragon leader
Yeah.
if we did that.
That would actually, dude, I would, because I don't know if you know this or not. I don't think I've told a lot of people
I
this,
love those
but the
cards.
Celestial Dragons are actually so fun, bro. I think they are the funnest, like, little, like, nuisance deck in the game. And, that would be so fun to work with the Celestial
That deck
Dragons.
is amazing because there's a finite amount of fun in this game, and that deck has all of it.
Yep, pretty much. Okay, so this would be the Celestial Dragon deck. Celestial Dragon Sakazuki, which makes sense because he's the admiral.
Yep.
Or he's the fleet admiral. Okay, cool. We'll go down to Big Mom.
So my problem with Big Mom is this costs 2 Dawn and only works when your life is low.
Yep.
There are OP06 yellow cards that are cheaper that do the same thing that for some odd reason, like I honestly think if this really had to happen, she should get another 1,000 power like her son.
Okay. So
because
she would it would still happen at 3 life though, right?
Yeah, it would only work at 3 or less life. That's when you start cycling them correctly. So you would have to play like Hiyori or whatever if you wanted to manipulate your earlier life.
That's fine. Yeah, I like that a lot better. So it's basically like both the yellow decks are both Dawn X1 7Ks. She's obviously, if this was the case, she would be way better than Katakuri, and there wouldn't even be a reason to play Katakuri. So I wonder how you change Katakuri to make
you have to make her still cost 2. That's how you make her and Katakuri fair if she works all the time.
So how are you gonna? So what'd you do with Katakuri's effect if this is gonna cost
Katakuri
1?
stays the same. No. She should cost 2 still.
Okay, but I thought you put this should cost 1 Dawn max, and if she doesn't, she gets 1K.
Oh, yeah. She the one? I think she's the one we couldn't actually fix because of the way she reads.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's fine. And then we'll go down to Luffy.
Great leader. The problem with him is and I absolutely love this. He is Megumin from Konosuba. He's gonna play Explosion and win the game, or he's gonna lose. He is not He's the only effective Navy leader in the game, in our opinion, because the discard gives you something back.
Yeah,
whereas
that's true. Even though it doesn't really give you like a whole lot back, but like this makes sense in terms of like something. A KO deck. Yeah, I completely agree. I think Luffy makes sense. So what's the fix for him?
I actually think his ability should work on the other person's turn as well. So it doesn't punish Luffy for using events to KO stuff.
Yeah, but how would that work? Would he just gain permanent like Dawn?
He would just get the same power. Like if he gains 1,000 for every Dawn under him on the opponent's turn, he should gain it 1,000, and every time something is KO'd or trashed.
Or I guess a secondary.
Everyone else trashes stuff.
So his secondary effect would be if your opponent on your opponent's turn, if he has Dawn attached, gain 1,000 power for that turn or something like that.
Yeah, when a Dawn is attached, not if he has, so that you don't get the bonus if you did it on your turn as well.
Okay. I think that's pretty cool. So like cards like Shockwave would work, and I mean, what other cards KO on your turn?
Shockwave, Triggered Ice Age, stuff like that. Or if they purposely KO their own characters like Gecko Moria and Sakazuki do.
That's cool. And it could be could it go in perpetuity? Like could it go forever, or is it just 6K leader max?
I think it'd just be fine if he was 6K leader max. At least giving him the 6K puts him on par with all the other leaders that for some odd reason are 6K.
I like that. All right, cool. I like that. Yamato, I know you sent me this one. This is my favorite one that you actually put out. So let's talk about this one. Take it away.
So this one should work on both turns and cost a Dawn. At the very least, she should always be 6K with a Dawn on her opponent's turn. And my reason for that is she is the only character that has the only leader that has a character guard that's a boss monster that matches her that does absolutely nothing for her deck.
Pretty much.
She wants to be at 2 life, but playing Yamato does nothing at 2 life. Yamato is a great boss monster when you're Katakuri and have 6 life.
Yep.
Absolutely useless in Yamato.
Absolutely. So, and you also wanted to change the 9-drop Yamato, didn't you? Is that in here?
I did. Yes, it's in here. It's way down at the bottom with boss monsters. That's after we get
Okay.
to the leader.
Let's just talk about her real quick, and then we'll go back to the boss monster. But this would be a lot more helpful in explaining how Yamato the leader could be better. So OP04 Yamato, you want it to gain 2 life, and then the 2 life activates first before the KO, right?
Yes. If your leader is yellow Yamato, you should gain 2 life when it's played if you have 2 or less life. Then the KO occurs.
Simple,
And
beautiful, love it. Yeah.
the reason for that is there are so many boss monsters now that are leader locked. That one should have been.
Yeah.
And the problem is the effect just is not useful for Yamato.
It's not. It's like Yamato has, like, we need more color exclusive deck, or like leader exclusive boss monsters, and Yamato working better in other yellow leaders, just like it's better in black yellow Big Mom than it is in Yamato, which just doesn't make any sense.
Dude, it's the best in Queen, which makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it's just like it really is better to have leaders have character cards that work better with those leaders. That way, like, they have some type of identity, which kind of ties back into my last video. So that's huge right there. A 6K leader on both turns is totally fine. If she has 2 or less life, I think that's perfect. I think the reason to play her though would be the change for the 9-cost Yamato.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. ST Kid, I love this. I love this deck. I love this deck so much.
It's so fun to play, but he is so close. He's so close to being a good card, but so far from it. I actually think the best we could come up with, he should have the 7K effect, but he should start as a 4K.
A 4K. Okay, so he's always a 4K.
He's always a 4K.
I think that would make him even worse than he is right now, if not to be mean.
But the point is, he would always have to use that effect.
So he always Dawn minuses, and then is that Dawn minuses is
gives him 2,000 power on his turn and 1,000 power on theirs.
Okay, actually, that's not horrible. That's not horrible, because he would take a lot of life early on, but like later on in the game, when he gets
point where it matters, he becomes the punk hazard boss monster.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. So this leader should have 7-drop built in for -1 Dawn, so he gains. So he'll be at 7K or 6K on the opponent's turn, or on your turn.
He should be at 6K on the opponent, or on your turn with no Dawn.
And then 5K with
on the opponent's turn.
Okay, if you use the Dawn minus.
Yeah.
I like that. That's really cool. I think that's really cool. And then on top of the kid character, he would be a 7K and then a 6K.
He'd be a 7 and a 6.
Okay.
And he'd have 2 extra life, giving him 2 more cards than Luffy.
Cool. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay. ST Law and Luffy.
I think these 2 are great. They are completely fair and balanced.
Yep.
I think Luffy is a little over-tuned with the fact that he can play Whitebeard so effectively.
Yep.
But these leaders are very well balanced for starter leaders.
The red doesn't make sense.
Is the weirdest in the world because that's so not either color's thing.
Yeah, the red doesn't make sense. I thought it should be blue.
I honestly think
at least for
Trafalgar should have been blue.
Yeah, he should have been a blurple. He should have been blue. He should have been a blurple because he's Dawn minus, which is purple, and then bottom decking, which is blue. I think that would have been perfect. And then obviously it's not going to work as well. But like he would change from an early aggro leader to a very strong, even like a better version of Crocodile leader, and then maybe instead of with power, we change him to cost.
But you can't reduce cost. That the reason why the power thing exists, because you can reduce power.
Yeah, but you can't do it with blue or purple.
True. But that's not true, because purple actually does minus power. Technically, purple did it more effectively than red first. People forget Hydra and Hell's Judgment.
Yeah, but I guess that's fine. I guess they would just have to reprint. They would have to like when this came out originally, if they had to change the colors, they would just release more cards that like were more in line with power minusing that were purple. That makes sense. And then what about Luffy?
Great leader, perfect for what he does. Whitebeard makes him overpowered. It's not him that's overpowered. It's Whitebeard.
Okay. So what's your suggestion with him? Just keep him as he is,
Keep him as he is.
and then
I think that
limit
boss
Whitebeard.
monsters should be limited to 2, but that's something we can discuss later.
Okay.
A million times later.
Okay. Zoro and Sanji, a missed opportunity. Okay, I like that.
There are so many cards in this game that actually say give up to one of your leaders. This should have been a starter deck with 2 leaders, each one with 2 life.
With 2 life?
And yes, it should have been 2 leaders. Each one has 2 life, so you have 4 life total. And it works like buddy battles. You can't kill one of them until the other one is at 0 life as well.
And then what? Do you just have like 0 effects? Like if you kill one,
No.
they
should
run out of the effect?
Zoro should restand when Sanji swings, and Sanji should bottom deck.
Okay, that I'm not gonna lie, that's the best idea you've had all night. That's actually so cool. I don't know how. Like I think that would be like I don't know how that would do. But have you tried? You said you've tested a lot of these.
We actually tested this one quite effectively.
That might be the most fun one to test out.
The way it works is Zoro has to swing first because he gets no effect until he's rested. And if he's rested, your opponent's blockers cannot be activated. As long as his character is rested, your opponent's blockers cannot be activated against an attack made by the Sanji leader.
Okay. And then Sanji bottom decks.
Sanji bottom decks a 2 cost whenever he swings and restands Zoro. If you pay 3.
That is
so
actually fun. I
like
that.
Zoro sky high, but you don't get anything useful until after he swings the first time, and then you have to re-rest him again. So it actually the other thing we needed, what was the other thing? Oh, the bounce effect stays the same. You have to bounce one of them when you swing Sanji in order to restand Zoro.
Okay. That's very fun, and I wish that was actually the case. That would have been very cool.
I'll send you what our actual text wording was. Yeah. It's really odd, but it was really fun. Like that was the most fun deck we came up with.
Yeah,
to play.
that would actually be so dope. Like the two character leaders would be, because kind of like how in Pokemon they do that, you know, with the tag team Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
that would be cool, but like in combination with each other, that would be really cool. All right, what about Uta? Promo Red Uta, your baby.
This is my baby. This is the most easily fixed leader in the game. Her 1 cost thing should either give a rush or draw you a card when you play a vanilla. That's it. If either of those effects happen, she would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think I don't think her vanillas should definitely. I don't think they should have rush because I think that would be absolutely like broken.
It would be pretty nuts.
I think the draw aspect actually isn't bad at all. I think the draw aspect is really cool, and that would be much better.
She's the only red leader that does not want to play any draw engines, which makes her really, with the exception of Bello Betty, but Bello Betty also gets access to yellow, which is the best color pool by far.
Yeah.
As far as cards go. But if this cost 2 and gave rush but no 1K, it's actually perfectly fine.
Oh, so turn her into Vivi basically? Is that what
you turn her into a red exclusive Vivi for vanillas.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
And it lets Maddie swing for
and then you draw
no matter what. Yeah.
Okay. I like that a lot better. Okay, cool. Blue Luffy.
I love this leader. This is actually what I will be playing besides Rocinante in the next set. If his ability was 4 or less instead of 3 or less, he would be a really competitive card. As it stands, he's
change. That's
maybe
crazy.
30. He's maybe 30-70.
Yeah.
Against meta decks.
Okay, but
he is the most effective leader for the 10-drop Kaido in the game.
Why do you say that?
Because the 4-drop Luffy is absolutely busted against boss monsters.
What does the 4-drop Luffy do again?
Trash 2 cards. The other person chooses a character on board and bottoms it. So if the only card on the board is their boss monster, it
That's
goes to the bottom for 4
actually so
cost.
saucy. I like that a lot. That's on play, or is that when is that?
That's on play.
Okay, that's cool. All right, yeah, all right. That actually would be pretty fun. I would like that a lot. And then Rainbow Luffy.
We just put this in. I put this in here because it was actually a note to you. A lot of the new like going forward events that aren't true sealed but are still sealed events are not still using this leader or allowing you to proxy it. I think that's a huge mistake because this was so much fun to play.
Yeah, I saw that. What also really made me upset was the fact that you can use leaders that you pull as like not. I feel like everyone should have to use Luffy, and I
You
think
should
he should
have
be.
to use this.
I think he should be
Period.
eroded to 5 life.
Yeah, I think he should be 5 life, and you should have to use him.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I actually didn't even know that, so thanks.
There you go.
Zoro. Okay, are we balancing leaders now?
This leader is balanced.
No.
He went out of. Yes, he is. He went out of control because Dodon, Izzo, and Buggy began to exist. He's the only red card that goes positive on cards. That's when he became stupid. In OP01, he was perfectly fine.
That actually is true. Now that you say that, it's true. But like balancing in the future, I guess he is kind of balanced now, just because like in the future we have like Perona and we have Lucci and stuff like that. So I guess that's fair.
The only way you could sort of fix him, and we did test this, we just didn't. We found you weren't Weenie Zoro anymore, and everyone didn't like that feeling because I think we're too accustomed to Weenie Zoro now.
Yeah.
If this effect gave all Straw Hats their 1 Dawn abilities, and it only worked on Straw Hats, he would be fine.
So you want to change it to only Straw Hats gain
to only
the
Straw
1 Dawn
Hats,
ability?
but they get 1 Dawn or less abilities for free.
I like that a lot more, but there isn't a whole lot of Straw Hats that have 1 Dawn abilities that are even like remotely viable.
Yes, they are. The problem is they're not viable because they require 1 Dawn.
Okay, so like you're talking about like the Rush characters like Sanji and
the Rush Sanji
Luffy.
only costs you 1 extra to put into it. The Luffy will cost you 1 extra Dawn to pay into it. The Rico Robin.
Okay.
The Jinbei that plays a 1 cost. There's a bunch of them. You just don't remember them because they're
Makes sense.
not good.
Okay. All right. That I actually like that a lot more than what he has right now. That way, at least like somewhat like Straw Hat centric. Law. I'm curious to see what you did with Law here.
Okay, this leader is perfectly fine. The problem is that he, like Whitebeard, has forced the game to design cards specifically to deal with him.
Okay.
Lucci as a card exists because Law is a leader.
Yep. I and
Lucci
agree.
is busted.
Yep. So what? So
but the big reason we put Law up, people don't understand how much value Law actually generates, and it's the idea of additive multiplication. Card games are very, very simple. They're +1 -1, like you're playing blackjack.
Yep. Or counting cards, you'd say.
Yeah, counting cards. Law is the only leader that has a variable +6. Assuming you have a board of 5 1-drops, you swap a red card for blocker Law and then swap any card for Rush Zoro. You're getting 8 Dawn, an attack, a blocker, and potentially another card for 2 Dawn.
Yeah.
That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, this should be an OP06 leader, and if this was an OP06 leader, I think he would have been way more fair than he was in the past. But the problem was, like, now obviously they produced cards that could deal with him, but only one color pool had it, and it was Zoro. It was red, right?
Yeah,
it was Fire Fist. Fire Fist was like the only card that could really stop him and slow him down like significantly. And then I guess like Vista and Marco, which people were started playing towards the end. But then like whenever they started playing Vista and Marco, then more people played Whitebeard, and then made people want to cut the Vista, and If this was created in set 6 with all these other changes and with like Lucci, and then that there's an event next set that does the same thing as Lucci does. I forgot what it's called, but like
Yep.
it would be more fair. Obviously, it would be much less relevant than it was, but I think it can still pop off like crazily, right? So
Absolutely.
especially with the new Mihawk 2K coming out, I think that gives that deck so much potential, especially with the film engine.
Dude, the Mihawk makes this deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
I'm
not
very excited
okay.
to try that out. I'm very excited to try out like the Mihawk and then like play Brook and then Brook plays Zoro, and it's just I'm
It's
excited.
not okay. It's
Yeah.
not okay.
All right, Luffy.
Welcome to the worst leader in the game, by representation. Which is funny because he was my main.
Yep. So he
This
should work up
leader's
this.
effect should work up to 7, and it should cost 3 without the bonus, or 3 with the bonus, or 2 without. And it would generate 5 Dawn as opposed to Law's 8.
Yeah. I like it a lot. So yeah, no. I like that a lot, and the reason being is because like it feels like Luffy, just like everything is just too expensive with him. That like you like, unlike Kid where it costs 3 Dawn to like swing 12, for this all you're doing is like his whole play is putting 6 Dawn on anything and then restanding it. So like
Yeah,
it just
that's it.
yeah, but like more cards can work with this than obviously with the leader. So it's basically like Kid, except for it works on characters and not the
I
leader.
actually think this would be so. If it was 7, it would make a better version of the Supernova deck because we finally would have a leader that could play the 7 cost starter kid effectively again because it
Yes,
restands itself.
yes, that would actually be so dope. That would be so dope, actually. Yeah, the blocker kid, right?
Yeah,
So the blocker kid swings twice and then restands himself as a blocker. Yo, that would
dude,
be
absolutely
dope.
perfect.
That would be absolutely no. I
And
completely agree with this. This is great.
the best part about that is, unlike the other cards where you're just sort of praying to God that you come up with a Diablo Jambe or the 5-drop Luffy that restands itself, the kid can be blocked. So they can have answers easily.
Yeah. All right, and then you can still obviously play Diablo Jumbo and have like a double swing. I think that's super
Yeah.
cool. Cool. What about Odin? Actually, Luffy does seem kind of fun like that. We gotta have like a couple games. If you guys are watching this and
I
you
have
guys want us to like
20 people who
yeah.
have seen this that want to like play more games
Yeah.
with me now.
If you guys
other
want
than
to
the guys
proxy
who are
this, let
testing.
us know. Yeah, because this looks pretty fun. I want to play that damn. I would want to play Luffy, but I would want to play the Sanji and Zoro.
Dude, I want to play the Sanji and
Yeah,
Zoro.
that would be pretty
is
fun.
actually the most fun one.
Yeah, that would be dope. All right, let's talk about Odin because Odin is
Discard effects are
yeah,
bad.
yeah, very
The fact
bad.
that he has to discard for 2 Dawn, it makes no sense. This is what he should do. He must reveal a Wano card to restand 2 Dawn.
That's way better. Way better.
And here's the reason. Because a true warrior shows his hand.
Where'd you get that from? Is that from the anime? I don't remember saying that.
It's a pun. It's a Japanese pun.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A true warrior shows his hand. And it's extremely
genius.
thematic for the samurai, dude.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. Odin solved then. Yeah, I think Odin would be a lot better. Doflamingo.
Dude, we had one of the guys testing with us would not play anything but Odin. We're like, we need to test the rest of it.
No, a warrior must show his hand. It must.
Dofi, his characters shouldn't come in rested. Arlongs don't. Moritas don't. Why do his?
True. Yeah. Well, Arlong's didn't because it was from hand, but Arlong, but Dofi, or I'm sorry, Gecko. Yeah, they're Gecko's is just like a better Dofi. You're completely
free
right.
play, yeah. Free playing cards need to not be rested anymore.
Cool. Kaido. Purple Kaido.
Okay, so this is weird because this leader is not terrible. The problem is he's punished for being a color. You don't want to do anything blue in Kaido because it doesn't give you your ramp, which is what you're aiming for.
Completely agree, dude. I completely agree. All blue is bottom deck or stall, and then all purple is Dawn minus. So if a character was removed, if Dawn X1, if a character is removed, get this effect.
Deck actually becomes really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say this deck
one
becomes
actually
like
becomes
tier 1.
almost overpowered.
Yeah, it would be tier 1 for sure. Because I mean, this has like at that point it would have the ramp as like of purple Luffy, but with 1 less life. So I think it's actually kind of fair. So all right, I'll take it. Yeah, I like
Uh,
that. Blurb, and then yeah, just switch the effects.
yeah, swap the effect.
I like that. If dude, I'm telling you, I would not play a single other deck if Blurple Crocodile was Mono Crocodile's leader effect. I would not.
100%,
I would
dude.
not play another deck.
I
I
would not be
promise you.
playing this stuff.
Yeah. All right.
King. This should work if you have 8 or more Dawn.
Yep. When I
And it should
first
work
thought of this
all the
deck,
time,
when
not just on your.
when I first heard of this deck, I thought it was 8 or more, and I still thought it was like kind of bad, but like 10 Dawn is just horrendous. 8 with the support we're getting, I think is perfectly fine.
So I'll actually give Swooper a lot of credit. He came up with another idea, which would be to remove 1 life, change this guy to red and purple, where the minus power makes sense. And instead of this effect, you can just Dawn minus as many times as you want a turn to remove 1,000 power from something.
I like that a lot more. I did talk to Zach about that in the chat. I think
that
that's
is
way cooler.
Like and it fits the sort of like half and half like GARP does.
Yeah.
But actually, the reason why I didn't put that on here is because we were using that effect already on GARP.
Okay. I mean, either one is pretty cool. With GARP, but I think that would make King have a lot higher of a skill ceiling. With like you like Dawn minus, because like if you wanted to like Dawn minus like 6 to like lessen a character that you can KO it or whatever it is, I think
so
that's
you can
really
blow
cool.
up like a big mom or something with a red rock.
Like all you need,
not red hawk,
or yeah, like a red hawk, or like so it's on either person's turn, or like a jet pistol
either
or something.
Turn.
Yeah,
we were testing it on either person's turn.
That's pretty cool. All right, Whitebeard.
This leader. The only way to make this, the problem with this leader is this leader exists, so because of him existing, Sakazuki exists. Because Sakazuki exists, Yamato exists.
Yep.
He is the start of the power creep chain.
Absolutely.
And it is a problem.
And he was in set 2.
And he was, yeah. Interestingly enough, the tests we were testing to make this leader fair never worked. But my wife came up with a very good one. He should stay a 6k at 6 life, but at the end of your turn, if you are taking that life, you trash it. You are dying. You trash that card instead.
So and he's kind of like Bello Betty at that point then, right?
Yes. And the other big thing about it is it makes one of the big things about like the leader Kaido and some of the other leaders is they're forced to put a 4 of a card that they don't really want to play but are so necessary for the deck, like Onigashima.
Yeah.
He should be forced to play I Still Love You.
Okay. I like
and the
that.
point
I
is
love
that.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
Pulling the life.
Yep. I love that a lot more. I always thought that tech was kind of underrated. I know Cody. I don't know if you met probably Cody a couple times, but he did that too. He teched like I think 2 or 3 of those in that deck when 9 cost Newgate was still a thing at 4. So no, I love that a lot. I heard another example where like another example would be every time you take a life, you go down to like minus power. So like if you go down to like 4 life, you become a 5k leader. If you go down to 2 life, you become a 4k leader, and 0 life, you become a 3k leader. So like I heard that, but that what you said is actually a lot better. I like that so much more because then they're forced to take life too.
Millions of cards.
Yeah. They're at that point they're forced to take a life at the end of it, or I'm sorry, they're forced to like take a hit, so they don't counter out. And then the other thing that would be on their mind would be, okay, do I want to take this hit? If I just draw into You May Be a Fool, then I can save that card. So that's actually a really good dynamic that I completely agree with. I like that a lot.
Yep. Okay. That was the best one we came up with, and that was after we continuously tested, and he just kept eating decks alive.
Yep. Pretty much. Kinemon.
This shouldn't be an activation. I've had too many people complain about rules, complain about the timing of it. I've called judges on people for not declaring that they're using the ability because the ability is in fact a activate.
Yep.
And it should work up to 3.
Yep.
Kinemon just is too far behind.
I completely agree. I always thought that like like when you have one or less, basically you only have two characters. Like it's just, I don't know, man. Two
Once per
characters
turn,
seems
up to
bad.
3 characters, be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that because it's not like you're gonna really play like like massive characters for one less cost, right? Like you're just gonna play like your little mid range aggro deck. Like you're gonna play like your Yamatos and then like your Izos and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's his mid. He is mid range, and
Yeah.
right now he's the worst mid range there is.
Yep, I agree. All right, Sanji.
This should work no matter where you're playing the card from, and it should work no matter how many characters you have on board. When you play a vanilla Get to Dawn, should only be once per turn, but no matter where you play it from.
Okay. So you should show. Let me just read this real quick. It should be anytime you play vanilla, no matter where from, no matter how many on board. Yeah, that's that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, because then even if you attach it, like you can't get it.
Yeah, he should be able to have his 2 extra Dawn to play events just like Luffy does.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot better. So this would be basically Uta, but for a different style of it, essentially, with a different color. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Ivankov.
If Ivankov actually, if you change his effect to just say 1 or less cards, he becomes completely meta. He goes about 45, 55 with most decks.
Yeah, because then you can save like an event in hand, or like you could save like a boss monster in hand, and then just draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a lot better.
And it lets him hand filter much more effectively.
Okay. Yeah. I completely agree. Because the reason that I hated playing Ivankov is because I would have like a Mihawk that I'd really want to save, but the rest of my hand was dead. So I'd have to trash the Mihawk and like all the other cards in my hand just to like try to get something that like might be better, and that usually like wasn't. So no, it's.
Yeah,
bad.
he also has a stage problem that some leaders have, where without the stage, you effectively feel like you're not a real character.
Yeah, pretty much. Magellan, I like Magellan.
This guy needs a boss monster.
True.
It should be leader locked, and it should -5 Dawn from both players.
That would be really good. That would be so good. That would like auto kill like so many decks.
But the big thing about it is, and the part that Magellan sucks at is, he is the mid-range deck that cannot survive late game.
True.
His late game is so ineffective.
Now, luckily, Kid and Kaido make up for that, but I do think that Kaido should be his own thing, and Magellan should have his own thing too.
Yeah. That's why I think the boss monster, if there was a boss monster for this, it would be character locked. And one of the other things I believe about it too, and we all agree, it should only be like a 7K.
That's fine.
So it should be like an 8 or 9 cost 7K.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, like I was gonna say, because you don't want to put too much pressure on him.
No.
Because if you Dawn -5 and like just have like a 10K, like that's just ridiculous. So a 7, yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot, because I think Magellan's like a perfectly like fair leader. Maybe gain like 2,000 would be better, but he just needs more support that just like works specifically for Magellan.
The other option is to let his effect work on both turns.
I think that would be a lot
fine
better
if he doesn't
too.
have a boss monster.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a boss monster, let his effect work on both turns. Because then when you like Blast Breath or Hell's Judgment, he's a 6K leader.
Yeah, but what we found was playing with the 7K 9-drop was way more fun, because everyone just loses Dawn, and it forces players to not just pitch away small things anymore.
Yeah, because then they like
against him.
Yep, they have to like save him. I like that. Cool. All right, Smoker.
There should not be a conditional on his effect when Katakuri is a card. Period.
Yep.
Everything he does, Sakazuki does better.
And the sad part is, this came one set before Katakuri came out.
This makes no sense to me. Why they allow Katakuri, I
don't know. No idea. And Katakuri can look at their own life too.
And yours, isn't it great?
Yeah, and yours, yeah. It's just wild. So how do we fix this?
His effect the extra power should not have a conditional, and we found that making it -2 was better than -1. And the reason for this is there's this weird point where Smoker is in mid game, and there are a bunch of like Smoker cards that you would honestly think would be fun to play, like the 5-drop Smoker, the 4-drop Smoker. And the issue is their effect is too hard to get off.
They have to have 0 cost, right?
With
there
a -1.
There has to be a 0 cost.
And making it -2 means it hits like the annoying little blockers and the secondary searchers.
True. No,
So those effects
absolutely.
can go off.
Yeah, and that way, like the Smoker will have you. The reason you play Smoker is not only is he a 7,000 leader with no conditions, but he also can play like the early. Like, he could be like the aggro black deck because he can play like the little like small aggro characters that gain power whenever you have something at 0. So
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I think that that would be a reason to play him a Dawn -2, but then be a 7K leader. I think that would be pretty good. Because a lot of people, their
Oh,
favorite character is Smoker.
he's such a cool character.
Yeah,
It's
he's
just that
dope.
card is not good.
Cool sword. He's smoking a cigar. He's just a cool dude. Garp.
Ugh.
Yep.
So the king, if king gets the -1 to cost, Garp needs a set of about 5 red cards that help him. Garp's problem is not Garp himself. It's that he is in this weird place where red and black cards don't help him effectively.
He has to have like some type of like there has to be like a red archetype that specifically works for like I'm telling you, there has to be complementary colors.
He should get a red card
Yeah.
that works like Karasu.
Yeah.
That permanently down powers a leader if there is a 0 cost card in play.
Yeah. That's the issue with Garp because his leader effect isn't horrible. Like it isn't
No,
horrible.
it's actually really
he
good.
just has
and you could
nothing for him.
And you could give the minus power to King and make him red purple, and he would be really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
But the support needs to be red and
Garp
not
is
black.
yeah. Garp is screwed by having no real cards, and black in general has this horrible problem where they have no boss monster.
Yeah.
Every single person who says, "Oh, but Kazan is a card. Kazan is not searchable."
And then then Isho is a card, but like, dude, Isho 8 costs. He basically does what like starter deck Law blocker does, except for like Law is just
starter
better.
deck Law blocker is way better.
He's less cost, and he's a blocker, and he can get his effect off for 1 more card in hand, which everyone has 7 cards in hand these days.
Isho should be green, not black, and he should rest the entire board.
That would be
when
pretty
you play
cool.
him. Not freeze, just rest the entire board.
I'll take that. That's pretty cool. All right, let's see. Ace,
build Striker into his kit. Don't make people play it.
Yep.
Would be a way better leader.
Yep, and then he still gets his other effect, right?
Yeah, still gets his other effect, but he should not have to put Striker in his deck.
Yep.
It hurts him way too much.
Tap 2 Dawn, search for an event. All right, and then obviously, yep. All right, cool. I like it. Kuro.
His problem is he is type locked.
So, do you think his effect should be just rest 2
characters? If it was not type locked, he would be perfectly fine.
So just rest 2 characters.
Rest 2 characters, restand yourself, and rest a 5 or less.
I like it. Easy, simple. Arlong.
You should be able to choose if you play from hand or top of your deck.
Okay, but the top of the deck would be, you don't know exactly. You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know if it would go off or not. Like Dofi.
Okay. So if you, that's fine, because the problem with Arlong is he plays his entire hand and then loses early.
Yeah,
so,
he dies.
So if you have the option of like, okay, I really need this 2K in hand, can I just play something maybe off the top, or dude, maybe even off the top of your life? I don't know. That could be. That'd be
cool.
That'd be cool. Maybe you just choose. I mean, it would be bad, but like it'd be an option.
Yeah. He basically needs another option to get cards.
Because maybe
has too little card pool compared to everyone else.
Yeah, like maybe you like activate Shirahoshi on purpose or something. I don't know.
And this could be like a 5. I think he's a little better in OP6 with some of the Fishman cards, but the problem is all the Fishmen make you take life. I actually didn't put Horty Jones on this list because that leader shouldn't be printed. He should not have to take his own life, or if he does, he should just get minus 1,000 power.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Nami.
There is no fixing this.
There has to be fixing Nami, dude. There has to be.
The problem is this deck specifically, and when we were testing, we tested a whole bunch of different things. Trust me. The best we could come up with is Dawn times 1 when your opponent takes damage to their life, not through an attack of her, trash 3. Then remove the trashing from most of the smaller things that do it.
What about Dawn times 3? If you have 0 life cards, you win the game. What about something like that? That way, like, she can't use 1,000 events at the end of the game when you're pushing for game.
Maybe.
I don't know. I like that a little
we would
better.
have to do more testing. The problem is we came up with that thing. The problem with the Nami is you're not playing. It feels like Law. Law doesn't until now with Sakaluchi. You didn't beat Law. Law bricks and loses to himself.
Exactly.
Nami is exactly the same. If you see Zeph, one Kaya, and an overheat in your starting hand, you have a 90% chance to win the game no matter what.
Pretty much.
Unless you're playing yellow.
Yeah, because you can just literally bounce literally everything. You can bounce the Kaya, and then you can bounce the Kaya again, and bounce the Kaya again, and then just search for like Brickfist and bounce the Kaya again. And then the Zeph is something you have to watch out for too, so you have to spend your turn getting rid of Zeph. It's just
I think the best change would honestly be shouldn't be allowed to play Brickfist, or just ban Brickfist in general.
Or ban Kaya. I think that'd be more fair.
The problem is there are certain leaders that need the Kaya card.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really
completely necessary.
All right, I don't want to spend too much more time on Nami. I don't like Nami.
Move on.
Iceberg.
Should draw a card when his leader ability works.
Yep.
Period.
Okay.
But he would be fine.
Yeah, completely, because he's like Arlong except for worse.
Rob Lucci should bottom deck one card and trash the other. You should only have to discard one.
I don't understand what's the difference.
You take a card from your trash that has CP9 put it on the bottom of your deck, and then discard a card.
Yep. I like that a lot better, yeah. Because discarding 2 cards is just too expensive for him just being... For him having literally no other effect. Completely agree. Now restanding him after 1 is a lot easier to do. But maybe put 2 cards, or maybe 2 or 3 cards from your trash.
I still think they need to be CP9 cards.
That's what I meant. But maybe 2 or 3 CP9 cards and trash one.
1 is fine to keep him cycling the CP9 engine. 2 ended up being a little harder to do, but it was still playable.
Yeah.
The double discard right now is actually a joke. Like, he's bad.
Yeah, it's
his
really bad.
His best deck is Dressrosa Lucci.
Yeah, I saw Mark playing that the other day, actually. So I like that. Maybe the only change I would make is bottom deck 2 CP9 cards and then trash card from hand. That's fine with me.
I hate the next card. I absolutely hate this card. Presents so many problems.
Yeah.
And the reason is because this is the only leader in the game I actually believe continues getting cards. There are some leaders who just have not gotten any help, any focus card-wise in their actual decks for 4 or 5 sets. Whereas Katakuri, every single one, OP5, you get the dude that KOs based on life. You get the 5K that plays itself. That's also a 2K for some ungodly reason.
Yep.
You like, and in the set after that, you get Onami, you get Okiku, you get like the yellow card.
Generic yellow support, yeah, will just make him better and better.
And the fact that he can play and search for 10-drop Big Mom makes him just the best yellow deck.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think there will ever be a yellow deck that's better than him, because he gets, unless they're like all type locked, he gets every yellow card that they do, but he has access to 10 cost Big Mom. I think it's just that. I think it's just that simple. None of them are
type locked for some stupid reason.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is like Enel isn't type locked because you can play Enel. Like everything isn't like the Skypiea stuff isn't type locked. It's just he gets them all. He gets every single one of them.
And that's his problem. I honestly would be fine with his ability if he didn't just have a permanently expanding card pool and cards like. And I'm going to go back to this card time and time again because it just boggles my mind how they can print a +13 Onami. This card has counter. This card KOs a 5 cost. This card, like, banish. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, there's no reason not to play it as a 4 of in any deck. It's Thunderbolt except for 20 times better. It's just too good.
Well, you can play.
Yeah, ridiculous. All right, Black Yellow Big Mom.
You know Adele does this for free, right?
All right. So what's how do we
To
do
synergize
this?
with black, it should still cost 2 and 2, but it should give -4 to a character.
Okay. I mean, at least you can build a deck around that. That's fair.
Yes.
That's fair. All right. Yeah, I like that. Vivi.
The rush should cost 1 and the draw should cost 1. They should be separate.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
She actually becomes a really good character if you can give rush to Mihawk.
That's fantastic. I actually love that. I absolutely love that. Gives her and Rebecca the same cost of effect. And yeah, that's great. No, that's absolutely perfect. Okay. All right. I like that a lot. Doflamingo.
Great Dovey is
I think he's great.
he is the most balanced character in the game.
Yeah, I think his leader effect is completely
The problem
fair.
is, because he was printed, every leader that doesn't have at least 2 Dawn in value is completely worthless.
Exactly. Color pool is cool too. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with him, and then he gets you're basically like forced to play
And they
events
keep
with this deck.
releasing helpfulness for him. I mean, and they give you more options to play his deck.
Yeah.
I love Birdcage. I think
I think it's
that
so cool.
idea of having a auto lose for conditionally for certain decks makes perfect sense for the leader.
Yep.
And the fact that it becomes completely worthless against other decks is even more fun.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I actually love Dofi. I think everyone knows this. I play Dofi a lot, and I think that his leader effect is just completely fair. So I'm glad that you didn't change anything about him.
No, he's great.
Isho.
His restand we found should cost 1, but he should just on attack for the rest of the turn, everything is -1 cost, or on attack something is -2. And the reason for this is Isho is so close to being good, but so far from it because you have to have one of the boss monsters to effectively play this leader.
Okay.
And the boss monsters that you need, Isho and Kazan, are horrible.
So he gets Sakazuki's effect of -1 on attack, but he just has the restand.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I mean, what would that do to make it like better?
The big thing about it is, and honestly, you could do not attacking. The problem is the fact that they both cost Dawn. Playing Kazan kills Isho. Isho needs Kazan.
Yeah.
Like, it's really weird. The other big thing is Isho is the only deck in the game where it is more effective. He's the first like good idea of Black Navy where you can choose to discard by playing like Sakazuki 6 or Kobe 3, or you can stack effects and wait till they swing to use Diaz Drake in green to kill something. The issue is it's too expensive for him to get there.
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay. So you think -2 cost? You know, like on attack -2 cost to everything, or just -2 cost to one thing?
No. -2 to one thing or -1 to everything.
Okay, I think -2 to one thing is better. I like that a little bit more
because that would allow and the -2 we found was better too because it allows Okiku to hit 7 drops, which is actually huge.
Nice. Okay.
Because you can Okiku it and then snap it away with Drake.
Yeah. Cool. I like that. Rebecca. I like Rebecca. I think Rebecca's awesome.
Rebecca is a great character. This should have been a starter deck. These cards were completely worthless and sealed.
True. True. Actually, dude, I played a Luffy and sealed and it actually came in clutch.
But that was the only card you played.
Yeah.
Like that in the 2Ks.
Well, I played Coliseum just because I had like 11 Dressrosa cards, but I never saw it, so. Yeah.
Queen, next one.
Cool.
Perfectly fine. He's just Katakura light. Great effect, makes a lot of sense, and the more boss monsters they give yellow and blue, the better he becomes.
Cool. I like Queen, yeah. This character is absolutely
this
horrible.
Character's horrible. This should worth both turns, and there needs to be some yellow Baroque Works cards that are actually good, because the purple ones are garbage.
Yeah, the purple ones, except for like Boss Monster Crocodile, it's like there's no Baroque Works engine. It's just if you play it, you're gonna lose. It's terrible. It's terrible. So on both turns, I like this too, because then you can play King for free. I like that a lot better. Okay, cool. Sabo, dude. Sabo is so. I love this deck because I've been playing it a lot. The problem is, if it was characters that if your character would be removed from the field to use this effect,
that is a big problem with the game right now.
I'm telling you,
removal is too easy and too good.
Yeah. So I assume, okay, let me read this real quick. It should not require a Don to use Sabo, or if it does, it should work once a character, so they have to double swing your board away.
That's the fair one we came up with.
I like how the Don one is if a character would be removed to activate his effect.
That's the one we were testing, and we loved it so much, but God, it became overpowered real quick.
It's pretty good, but like at the same time, or dude, maybe it would cost 2 Don. Like maybe 2 Don would be fair.
If it was 2 or 3, it'd be fine. But like we were doing some weird stuff with boss monsters that couldn't be KO'd.
Yeah, okay. So make him 2 Don, and then like make his effect if they were to be removed to minus the power, minus 1,000. Yeah. Because like his effect could be, dude, into like certain decks like Red Green Law or like dude, like decks that like only have like 1 or 2 swings, like Katakuri, dude, his effect is actually good. Like they can't get him off the board.
So the normal idea we came up with, which made him a god, but in a good way, he would have really bad matchups and really good matchups, was you have to double swing at everything if he has a Don on him.
That's just like too good.
It was really funny.
Okay, let's talk about Rosinante. I know you love this deck.
I love this leader. He's really thematic, but he has no real effect. This dude should get a bonus when blocking. Realistically, it should be 2K.
2K?
But it's only when he blocks.
Only when he blocks characters, I assume. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you can only do it once.
If that's the case, dude, he has to be 3 life. He has to be a 3 life leader.
Oh yeah, no.
100%. Or he could be a 6K with and be a 3 life leader. Because that's just too good.
He could be 6K 4 or 7 3.
Okay,
but
I like that.
He's still 5 when you swing directly at him.
That's fine. That's completely fair. All right, I like that. Bello Betty. How do you balance Bello Betty, bro? How do you, dude? There's no way you can balance this leader.
So her problem is not her; it's Karasu.
Yeah.
This leader is absolutely perfect in red. It makes total sense.
If you don't kill someone, you die.
And die.
Yeah, I love Bello Betty, but Karasu is a huge issue.
Karasu is busted.
Yeah, completely unfair. Yeah.
You can literally make leaders 0s with 2 Karasu. It shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Wait, how can you make him 0 with 2 Karasu?
You have 2 on board, and then you drop a 3rd one. Your leader goes, 1K. Woo.
Well, that's minus 3,000. Oh wait, no. But then you get the
from the
trash. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Karasu needs to go to 1 or 2 or something. The card's too good.
Honestly, if he was restricted to 2, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
I don't like Sakazuki. I think this card ruins the game more like Whitebeard.
I think I told someone. I think this was in my video. But where do you go from here? Because any blue or black deck, you go to Sakazuki.
Yeah, if you're playing blue or black now, you are almost 100%, unless they change leaders, you are 100% relegated into this league.
Yeah, because there's just no other leader.
Sequential anything.
Yeah. There's no other reason to play Crocodile. Like Crocodile is like Sakazuki is just a better version of Crocodile. There's no reason to play Dofi anymore because you have Gecko Maria, and then like all the other black decks, Smoker, Sakazuki, Lucci, like you can't like this is just better overall.
Yeah, the amount of cards they printed to make this leader good is actually the bigger problem.
Yeah, Blazehound is ridiculous, and then obviously like Borsalino's good, Lucci, Rebecca.
Blazehound is the stupidest card conceived besides Onami, and the reason is because of what it does.
I think Amaru is just fucking insane.
Oh, no joke.
Yeah, Amaru's like really good. That's exactly what Yellow needed. Anel, I like Anel. I like Anel
Dude,
a lot.
I love Anel.
He's annoying as shit, but he's fair. Yeah.
But he does, and I completely agree with this. This quote isn't mine. I got this quote from Hamilton. This leader is not Katakuri, but he's quite fair. He boasts more free noob kills than a Halo Pro during release day.
That's true because I used to be a Halo Pro. No, absolutely. Anel, will literally, bro, any noob in the game, Anel will stomp you into the ground because you're like, how do I kill this guy? He's impossible to kill. And then when you realize you just leave him at like 1 or 2 life and then kill him from there, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, the problem is he's not Katakuri. That's his issue.
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah. So the only way to balance him, I guess, is to like fix Katakuri somehow, which I still don't think we really know.
Well, don't let Big Mom be searchable.
Yep. Yeah, I guess banning Big Mom would actually be
Actually,
just
if
the
Big
way.
Mom was, honest to God, if most of the boss monsters, the ones that are completely busted, were limited at 2, this game would be much better.
Yeah, I'd probably say that. Yeah. Purple Luffy.
This is what every purple deck wishes it was.
I honestly think that this deck, the second we get better purple boss monsters, is going to be a tier 0 deck.
Oh, 100%.
The problem is we don't have any purple boss monsters that aren't 9-drop Kaido.
9-drop Kaido is bad.
So this is literally the 9-drop Kaido deck. But like if we ever get like a card that like is just as impactful as Kaido, and we have Kaido and whatever that is, this deck will be ridiculously good. This is the only limitation I think this deck has, is the fact that like once you drop the character, and if it gets dealt with, you just lose.
Yeah, you fall off a cliff.
Yeah, like if your Kaido is dealt with, you're at like 1 or 2 life, and you're dead. You have nothing else in hand. You played basically your entire hand. Yeah, you're just dead.
I actually think it's better to use the wheel Luffy and then ramp back up in the Kaido.
Yeah, I could say that. I could say that. All right, cool. Is there any fixing this deck, or are we just?
This guy's actually pretty fair. He's just, the problem with him is he invalidates a lot of the other purple leaders because you don't have to use. There's not some weird conditional to it, and you don't have to put bad cards like Onigashima in your deck.
Yeah, I mean that's he's the generic purple leader. So no, I completely agree. As long as stuff isn't like leader locked, I think he just gets really good. Karasu and Blaze
So this
Sound.
is creepy ridiculousness. This is where the power creep has gone. Houndblaze is a 2 cost, 4 Dawn effect with Sakazuki's -1 that also gives 3 Dawn in attack value.
Yep.
To do this before OP5 costs you 2 cards at least and 7 Dawn.
Yep.
To do this in OP5, it costs you 2. Remember, Jet Pistol hits up to a 6k, and it doesn't give a bonus to anyone.
Nope, not at all. Jet Pistol's and we used to think Jet Pistol was really good. This card just like this card literally
insane.
Dude, imagine in set 1 if they played Okiku on turn 2 and we just swung into them. We swung into them minus Okiku, played Blazehound, and boosted Brand New by 3,000. Dude, they'd be like, why? Like they'd be like, why would I play this game? Like blue is just the best deck in the game.
If this card had been around before OP5, I guarantee you every single person would have been blue.
Yeah. I mean, obviously on mono blue decks, I think this card isn't very good. But in Rebecca, I think this card would be absolutely insane.
This deck would have absolutely stopped Zoro sideways and Law.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but like not completely, because it's just at the end of the day, it's just a 1 of removal. But this card would have been awesome to have in set 3. I think this card would have been great to have in set 3 because it gave Crocodile like some type of like Crocodile and Dofi some type of response for what's it called. The problem is this card is splashable in black. If this card was blue only, it would be fine because it literally only hit a 2 or less.
Oh, it'd be fine in just blue. But
Yeah.
Sakazuki's
That's the issue. If this card was just in blue, I think it would be completely fair. The fact that it's splashable, I think it's just bad. Karasu is just absolutely ridiculous. You can cheat him out. You can, dude, like on play.
He's a 1K.
Dude, on play.
He's got the best on play in the game.
Dude, on play, he literally has the best on play in the game. Minus 1,000 power during a turn to the leader? Dude.
Yep.
And he's a 1K counter. Bro, get out of here, bro.
Dude, this card. Oh my god, the power creep.
Yeah, just ridiculous. What do we got here? Onami.
The
Okay.
next one's
these yellow cards are ridiculous.
These cards that none of these should have been printed. Like this is absolutely insane. Hiyori, Kikujuno, Momonosuke, and Onami are just.
I don't agree with Perona, by the way. I don't think Perona is that meta defining.
So here's the reason it is. This is the first time a 2K card has been given 2 effects, both of which are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
and it's a reoccurable graveyard card that you can recur every turn.
Oh yeah, I forgot because I could never mind, because Gecko can get
Comes
it back.
right back out of the
Yeah.
trash every turn.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I forgot about it recurring, and then it's also a 5K. So no, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think Onami is still like more busted
But
than that.
I do think that if this is what they want to do moving forward, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Make 2Ks so good
That
that
you
you want to play
decide,
them.
yeah, that you decide to want to play them. Okay, that makes
The
sense.
biggest problem with Perona is you get her back for free.
Yeah.
If,
Okay.
but I do like the idea of an effect so good that you debate playing them over just throwing them away.
Dude, I actually love that concept too. They've been doing that with all the black cards pretty much, like Tsuru, Tashigi. So I like that
Yeah.
idea. I wish Onami was a 2K, because like then you would consider not
That
playing
card
her.
is already stupid.
Yeah, but like then you consider at least like there's no drawback. It has to be also a no counter. I wish this card was a no counter. Either a 2K or a no counter.
The fact that you can Momonosuke Onami back to the, or no, you can't, but you can Momonosuke Kikujuno back to your life is.
Yeah, just okay. Let's talk about Rosinante.
This is could have been the coolest boss monster in the game, and it kills me.
Yep.
This card came out in the same set that there was a 5-cost Dressrosa Vanilla Law in black and a green-black leader.
Yeah. That
And
would have been pretty
for some
cool.
odd reason, it doesn't stop rested characters and removal. This should have been the first card in the game that stopped removal. Period. You should not be allowed to target anything with a base cost of 5.
I'm
while he is
completely
alive.
okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. Or it could be like Heart Pirates or maybe just Laws or something, and then you could play Laws.
Honestly, I'd say it should just be law,
Yeah.
but that'd be perfectly fine.
Either
think
way
you
is still
really
fine.
missed the
Yeah.
ball here.
Yeah. So yeah, I completely agree. I think this is probably one of the worst secret rares in the game. At least like Vivi has like
that is
some
the
type.
worst secret.
Yeah, like Vivi has at least like some type of relevancy. Like this has no relevancy. Like
zero.
Vivi you can play in Bello Betty and it can be like actually super cheese. Like this.
I use it in Uda.
Yeah.
In Red Uda.
Yeah. So okay, Yamato, we already talked about that. Boss monsters. I know you have a whole thing. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah. So I'll go over this quickly. But my problem with the game right now is there is a massive discrepancy on what a good boss monster is versus what a bad boss monster is. And I wanted to sort of bring up pictures of all of them so people could understand what a good one was versus a bad one. And I think my absolute favorite, and this is just like sort of pictures based on which ones of them are actually the best, was Zoro coming out on top because that card is beyond out of control. But
I
hey,
think Sanji's better than Zoro personally.
Sanji has very specific uses. The problem is there's no deck that uses him effectively.
Queen does.
Yeah, just Queen.
Well, yeah, other than Queen, yeah. But like I still think he's like, dude, he could just like
But he's
play
almost
Mihawk
leader
off
locked
the top.
to Queen. Yeah.
Dude, he can play Mihawk off the top. I think he's the perfect blue like boss monster.
I like Armaki actually as a blue boss monster. He makes total sense being a blocker. And I love that he's the first 8K blocker in the game.
Yeah, no, he's cool too. He's cool too. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick too, because I know you just gave your thoughts on it. Some of the worst boss monsters in the game, in my opinion, are Kuzan,
Black.
10 cost Kaido. Luffy is like pretty much leader locked at this point to basically Dressrosa. And then 10 cost Kaido, and even Shanks, dude, is like not very good.
Shanks is not good.
Yeah, everything else is like way too good. And I guess Odin's okay, but the way the game's going, it's just like, why would I play Odin when I can just play Zoro?
The problem is Linlin and 10 drop Dofi are so unbelievably good that the cards that are coming now are just as good and absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And all these old ones just feel bad to play.
Yeah,
Although
I still think Mihawk
credit,
has its like uses, but it's
I think
definitely
Mihawk
falling out of
has his
favor.
uses, but he's not.
He's not what he was. He's not what he was in set 4.
No. I actually think Vinsmoke Judge is the best design one.
I actually don't know what he does.
100% leader locked. So when on play, Dawn -2, trash 2 cards, you can play all of the non-raid suited members of the Vinsmoke family from your trash.
Cool.
So you can just reflood your board with the Vinsmokes, and then if you are willing to keep Dawn minusing, you can get them all right into their raid suits that turn.
Yeah, I'm definitely
It's
excited.
very
Definitely excited to play it. I haven't looked in too
that deck
much
is
into
very
Raiju,
well done.
but I've heard about like how it plays, and it looks pretty fun. Yeah, so I think the only way to deal with boss monsters in the future is to. I mean, obviously, I think a rotation is just it just needs to be done, but. Another thing is like if we just limit them to 2 each and like make them not
I think
searchable,
limiting them to 2 each
or
and none
making
of
them
them
not
can be
searchable
searchable.
is just like is perfect because like Zoro can be searched in Law or Luffy with Nami. Sanji can too with whatever, right? I think stacking your deck is fine. Like look at the top 5 like Perona and X Drake and Doflamingo, but I think like searching for them is actually just a big problem.
Yeah, the searching is bad.
Yeah.
Although I have played Blue Luffy and I've done the Mihawk thing many times now. Use Sanji right into Mihawk
Yeah. It's
because he has way more ways to look at the top of his deck.
Yeah, I think in either Doflamingo or like any blue, like even Crocodile gets a huge boost from the Sanji like thing, because like Crocodile, at this point you would just play Perona, and then you would play Perona, look at the top 5. If you see a Mihawk in there, if you already have Sanji in hand, or if you just if you have Sanji in hand, you see a Mihawk, you see literally any blue character, you can just place out, which is really cool. You can play out this Armaki guy if you want to.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, cool. 10 drop Kaidos, all but one
All but
suck.
one of them suck. I feel so bad. I just put this there because I feel so bad for Kaido.
I
The only
like
one of
10
these that's
cost
actually
Kaido, the blue one, the bounce one, but he's definitely not as good as the draw
he's
one.
a suicide play though. That's my problem with both the blue and the purple one prior to the draw 4. These cards are self-kill cards. They do nothing to further your game plan. Especially by the time you play them, you're usually at 1 life or less, and the other person goes, okay, Dawn swing, and you die.
Yeah. Now I think blue Kaido has his like very like the bounce Kaido had his very specific uses. Like I thought he was great against like
At a low
Doflamingo.
number of them, he was good,
Yeah.
and against certain decks, he was amazing.
Yeah.
But he still felt bad.
Against most decks, he was pretty much
A dead card
a
that you
dead
threw
card.
away with Gum Gum Rain.
Absolutely. So, all right, guys, that was a super long video, about an hour and a half. So, David and some friends put a lot of work into this. If you guys want us to like kind of show you the exact printing, let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to make a video on just like, you know, maybe a video and like a file to download to like print these out if you want to. I think that would be pretty cool if you guys are interested in that, and then we can play like an alternate format for a little bit, see how it works. But they tested it out, and
we did a lot of testing.
Yeah,
we did a lot of brain draining.
Yeah, they said they tested pretty much all of these at least like 20 times versus meta decks. So
it was so long.
Yeah,
I honestly think it was the better part of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so a lot of work into this. Make sure to like the video, guys. We're gonna try to timestamp them for you too, so we can get you like a more organized list. But I think this is awesome. There's some leaders I didn't necessarily agree with, or like I think could maybe use a little bit of tweaking. But this is still a lot
there's
better.
Always some point to tweaking, but this is what we got with the number of games.
This is a lot better than what it is now.
With the exception of the dual Sanji Zoro, we got like way more games with that because everyone.
Yeah, it just looks fun. Yeah, completely agree. All right, any last words you want to say, David?
No, thank you all very much, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for having me on the video.
Thank you, bud. All right, guys, take it easy and have a good day.